There are many different types of engines on the island of Sodor. There are big engines, little engines, tiny engines, tank engines, tender engines, and diesel engines. But the newest engine on Sodor was unlike anything any of the other engines had seen. In fact, it was debatable whether it was an engine or engines.
This is the Sodor Garratt. He, or they, are a very special engine. Now I can understand why you couldn't figure out what to call it.
That's a term I've heard too much.
I'll let them introduce themselves. Meanwhile, I must be off. Goodbye. I didn't mean to offend you or anything. I've just never seen an engine like you before.
Oh no, of course you didn't. I was just...
Try to preach, that's what.
Oh, shut up, Will.
Yes, well, anyway, I'm Will.
And I'm Corey.
And I'm Grady. Are you alright?
Oh, don't mind him.
He had a bit of a building error, and it's made him a bit, well, off the rails. It doesn't mean I'm not useful. It's who I am, and I'm proud of it. That's the spirit. What a strong fellow.
Oh, I'm sure. The next day, the Fat Controller had several important jobs for the Sodor Garratt.
I want you to collect some goods at Ofsted Depot and take them to Knapford Harbour.
Yes, sir.
But remember, even though you are designed for tight bends, you must still go slow on the quarry line. Follow the speed limits.
Very well, sir. The Garratt set off, but Will was determined to lead the way. Slow down! I can't keep up!
Nonsense! I'm not gonna dawdle around. Now hurry up, you snail!
Always has to be an arrogant bum, doesn't he? Oh, shut up!
Oh, what a lovely day! Look at all the flowers!
Well, it would be if I didn't have to roll behind Mr. Pompous Pistons. I'm sorry to say that arguments like these were quite common for the Garratt. Though they had worked on a railway before, it was nowhere near as large as the Fat Controller's. They arrived into Olstead Yard. Toby had shunted the trucks into place.
Take care with the trucks. They've been badly behaved today.
Corey was about to reply when Will suddenly reversed back very quickly. Ow! Ow indeed, you moron!
Excuse me, I was just buffering up. I had no idea you weren't ready.
No one said we were ready, you idiot. God, you always screw everything up.
You mean we always screw everything up? That's the problem. I want to go one way, you want to go another.
Corey and Will started arguing loudly. Grady just remained silent, and Toby was very annoyed.
Will you 2, 3, or whatever, shut up! Sometimes I wish I had my independence.
Corey rolled his eyes, and the Garratt suddenly started moving.
Ow! Ow! Wait! We won't go!
Shut it! The trucks did not like being bumped around. Will and Corey should have known this, but they were too busy arguing. Will wanted to get the job over with, and he was going as fast as he could. Will you slow down, you idiot? We'll crash!
No, we won't. We're a Garratt engine. We're built to take on bends fast.
The trucks decided to teach Will a lesson. Unbeknownst to the others, they began pushing the train faster.
You see, we're virtually indestructible.
You were saying?
How do you like your independence now?
The Fat Controller was not happy at all.
It is obvious you three don't work as one. I cannot have this on my railway. I'll repair you this once, and see if buying this type of engine was worth it.
Will and Corey felt very silly. They didn't speak to each other for quite a while, even after they had been repaired. Their first job was to manage the freight at Kronk Station. Grady decided to get Will and Corey back on track.
Come on, guys. This job isn't that hard. Here's our first load. We'll need to separate the tank wagons into the sidings.
After Henry had left, the Garratt began arranging the different tankers into their proper sidings. Then James arrived with a freight train. The same treatment was given. At first, Will and Corey remained silent while Grady instructed them what to do. But soon the three were all talking to each other. I suggest we put the brake van over there. It'll be the last thing we access.
Very well. Sounds logical, I guess. What do you think, Grady? Sounds good to me.
The three were working together, which they had been struggling to do for quite some time. The job was finished quickly, and the yard manager was very impressed. Well, I must say, you got that done quickly. Well done, you three.
Thank you, but it was mainly under the guidance of...
But before he could finish, an alarm could be heard in a small factory across the rails. Workmen came scrambling out.
The boiler! It's gonna blow! Get away from here!
Oh, God. Everyone get out, now! What about the fuel wagons?
Leave them be.
Well, if those get set off by an already catastrophic explosion, they could destroy the station. It'll be virtually impossible to put out.
Then let's not wait for disaster.
Come on! The Garratt worked as fast as they could. Quickly! Where do we take them?
Far away. That's where.
After they were coupled, they raced out of the station backwards. There was no time for a turntable. They were just in time. Crikey!
We should take these to Marin and then warn the others. Good idea.
They stopped at the signal box and warned the signalman. He then called ahead and all trains were halted. Gordon was stopped at Marin and was very cross. The Fat Controller, who had been on the train, wasn't aware of the situation.
What's going on? Why have all the trains been stopped?
Just then, the Garratt pulled into Marin with the fuel tankers.
What on earth are you doing with those? Your job was to... There's been an explosion at Kronk. A railside factory blew up. We have removed these fuel wagons to prevent a catastrophe.
The Fat Controller was in shock and said nothing. He immediately walked to the nearest telephone. Meanwhile, the blaze had destroyed Kronk's freight shed. The fire was raging, and the firemen battled furiously. Soon, with the help of Harold, the fire was out. The next day, the Fat Controller surveyed the damage. Trees had been incinerated, walls torched, and rails melted. But not a single person was hurt, and most of the station was spared.
This boiler was old, and the pressure got to a point where it was too much. We should have monitored it more carefully.
Then he turned towards the Garratt.
However, thanks to the truly heroic efforts of you three, the damage was much less than what it could have been. You three acted quickly in an emergency, and have showed me that together you are a very useful engine. Thank you, sir. Corey, I'm sorry I was so arrogant. Being at the back just means you have a different point of view. And Grady, well, you may be different, but you are just as useful as any other engine. And in some ways, you're better. You're a great mentor, and you're always optimistic. Thank you, Will. I know I'm different, but I'm proud of it.
That's the spirit, Grady. And Will, you may be a bit demanding sometimes, but in all honesty, you're just taking pride in your work. And that's a trait of someone who wants to be really useful.